everybody. Welcome to Hallmarkies podcast. And we're really excited to talk with the director and stars of the new rom-com Meet Cute in Manhattan. And thank you so much, Karen Morey, Terence Chen, and Kendall Leary for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So I'm so excited to talk with you all. I really enjoyed the film, and there's so much to talk about. But I guess let's just start out by hearing. How did you become involved in the project? How did you get the idea for the project? What about you, Karen?
So this all started with Terrence, but I'm a huge fan of rom-coms, and so I was a month out of film school when I first met Terrence through Mia Kavinsky, who plays Billy in the film, the director. And I just remember our first conversation so distinctly, just like so excited about rom-coms. And in film school, like there weren't a lot of people doing comedies or rom-coms, and I'm such a big fan of the genre. Like
Yeah.
watching it with my mom every Christmas, like Hallmark movies, like Christmas Prince. I love
Ah!
so but the film really started with Terrence and
So, Terrence, how did you get this idea, and what inspired you to write it?
Honestly, this whole journey started almost 6 years ago now, and I think we were kind of in the depths of COVID, and I love rom-coms, and I feel like we all needed some levity and joy. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start writing something that can hopefully bring that to people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started penning this thing, and it kind of took on a life of its own. And Kendall was actually one of the first people that read the first draft at a table read that we did. And we
Yeah.
kept hammering away at it bit after bit, and we got super lucky. We met all the right people, and we convinced all the right people to fall in love with the project, and we made a movie, which is
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. Congrats.
Really good people,
Yeah.
kind people, funny people. Like we just had a great time on
Yeah.
set.
So, Kendall, you got involved early on then in the process.
Yes. I actually at first was reading for Chloe,
Okay.
different iteration of this
Yes.
script. It's changed so much. That character changed so much. Everything had changed, and then they had me come back and read for Nora.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been so fun to see the script evolve and change. It's such a blessing to be able to see that as an actor from start to finish.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Well, Terrence, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about the movie and what they could experience with this movie?
Well, the movie is about a dreamy-eyed actor who hopes of doing more, but is stuck in his current situation. And when a meet cute happens, where a coffee spill ruins his favorite jersey, it catapults him to commercial stardom, which is not something that he nor the girl
Literally in commercials.
Yeah, literally commercials. Yes, yeah. And he kind of discovers his voice himself, and hopefully he helps the girl of his dreams do the same.
Yeah. What I thought was fun is there were a bunch of sort of meta aspects to the movie. You've got a lot of the popular rom-com tropes that you have. You've got fake dating at a certain point. Uh, you've got the meet cute. You've got the a lot of different dynamics going on, and then of course you have a lot of meta-ness in the sense of you're trying to sell this screenplay while the events are actually happening, and I thought that was clever. That was fun.
I think one of the we all love rom-coms, and
Yeah.
that meta element is a way to poke fun of it while still
Yeah.
loving it, you know? Because I don't like movies that kind of poke fun in a mean way at the genre, because like we all
Yeah.
love it, you know?
Yeah.
I think this was such a smart way, and the whole meta narrative was really Karen's kind of huge injection into the screenplay of how to bring that levity and comedy to a loving tribute to the genre.
Yeah. Well, why, I'm curious to all of you, why do you think that the rom-com it's suffered for a long time as a genre, and there just were very few outside of Hallmark and made for TV movies being made? And do you think that there's sort of hope for the genre going forward? Do you see a renaissance? What do you think, Karen, about that?
Well, it was interesting, like I was saying at film school, like people were making very serious dramas, like the kind of films that you think will win an Oscar. But I don't know. I wish that rom-coms would win Oscars and be up. The Oscars are on Sunday.
Yeah.
So like seeing it at the film school level, it was interesting where the next generation was coming. It was interesting to see. But I think a lot of like people in the industry are afraid of taking risks anymore, and I'm just excited to bring back this beloved genre that I watched with my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Independent films, 15, 20 years ago, they were able to take more risks. They didn't necessarily have studios that made them do a certain thing. And so you got to have fun and see what the audience likes instead of doing, a bunch of remakes of the old things that an audience is going to come to. I think there is still beauty in that in independent filmmaking, and that's why we got to have some fun.
Yeah.
For me, I think somehow being earnest and being sincere became out of fashion. And I think rom-coms have that spirit, right? Because people don't really connect with sarcasm. They connect with earnestness and sincerity. And I think rom-coms kind of capture that. And I think in this era, we need that hope and levity and that belief that tomorrow will be better than yesterday. And I think when I get sick, I don't watch The Brutalist. You know what I mean? To make
Right. Yeah.
I watch When Harry Met Sally. I'll pop in The Lion King. I'll pop in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think those movies that it's like chicken soup. You know what I mean? You watch it to make yourself feel good. And I think it's really important that we also show, frankly, a diverse cast have those same aspirations, and that it's worthy of making a film like that.
Isn't that interesting that something like the romantic comedy would be seen as the high risk choice in 2025, that would be the risky way to go?
Listen, if I could Hulk out, I'm sure that would add bonus points to the film, but CGI that, so
Was it tricky in figuring out the screenplay and the editing and the other things, these different kind of these pitch side of it, where the reality side of it, the different aspects of the screenplay? Was that hard to balance?
So the pitch meeting was our last day of filming, and so
wow.
Different, like Nora's scene with her friend, we were running the scene and we were like, wait, it doesn't pass the Bechdel test. And so we were like, oh wait, but we can point that out in the pitch meeting. So
it was a nice editing tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, like to have that at the end of production to like build the story as we went. Our incredible editor Zach and Courtney did such an amazing job. I know Terence and I are both, and I'm sure you are too, Aaron Sorkin fans, and we were really inspired by The Social Network and how they cut with the boardroom scene.
And
so
also,
go ahead.
Sorry. Dan Jessup and Georgia Haig, who play the executives, are just so funny together.
Yeah.
And like, it just like their chemistry is wild. And it was also very, very odd having to narrate your own movie back to them and then they give you feedback. It was trust me, it was a very meta performance as well. So
Yeah. They were very funny. I agree.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor of this episode of the podcast. It's the new novel Shooting Stars Above by Patricia Levy. In this heartfelt contemporary romance, Patricia Levy takes us on a journey with a best-selling novelist and a federal agent fighting to heal past wounds. Can unconditional love help heal through this epic love story? Order the book at Amazon or Barnes & Noble now for only 99 cents using the affiliate link below. That's only 99 cents for a limited time. Don't miss it.
So you say in there that the leads have to end up together to be considered a rom-com. And I'm curious for your actual views on this, because there are exceptions. You know, your My Best Friend's Wedding, for instance, would be an exception. What do you think?
I'm the lone holdout. I'm the lone holdout on the couch. I am a firm believer that they have to end up together for it to be a rom-com.
So you wouldn't consider My Best Friend's Wedding a rom-com?
It's a tragedy. It is okay.
There's love and there's, comedy.
Say, like, if you take the romantic relationship out of it, and it isn't a movie anymore, then it's a rom-com. So I thought that was one rule that someone told me when I showed them the film. I was like, wait, we missed one rule.
Yeah, that's
yeah. Well, and I guess in that sense, My Best Friend's Wedding wouldn't count because there is no romantic relationship between the two leads. You know, there's a friendship, but no actual. So maybe it wouldn't count. Yeah, it's an interesting theory. So you answered my next question of what do you think is a romantic comedy? But Terence, what do you think about that? What to you makes it a romantic comedy?
I think one, there has to be comedy, which is very important.
Yeah.
But the characters, they have to evolve through that love, right? They just keep kind of butting heads into each other and nothing kind of happens. Then, well, the characters don't grow. Non-growth characters are always boring. You know what I mean? So I think if the characters grow through their love, that's really the key point of a romantic comedy, and they have to end up together. So that's those are kind of my two sticking points.
Yeah. Well, you do talk about you talk about mind-altering love and so I'm curious, do you all believe in mind-altering love? You think it's real?
I do.
Yeah.
I've never been in love, so this was I've learned love through watching rom-coms.
Me too.
So it was a really interesting experience, like making a film about the way that I learned about love. There's so many meta layers to this film.
Yeah. I think watching a romantic film or a rom-com and feeling that love, have you ever just left it and felt giddy? Like you feel alive again, you feel inspired again. I think that's mind-altering. It's brief.
Yeah.
I 1000%. I think when you're in love, you look at the person that you're in love with and think that they're magic, right? You think that somehow the powers that be created this one person that understands you and comprehends your totality as a human being. And how can that not be magical, right? So yes, I 1000% believe that.
Yeah. So there's a whole section of the movie where you're recreating classic rom-com scenes. I was curious how you came up with which ones to do that with, and what was it like kind of recreating those scenes for Roman Holiday and Singing in the Rain and etc.
So Roman Holiday was, we found out we could bring a vehicle onto set, and so we were like, what rom-com moments have a vehicle? And Kendall loves Roman Holiday.
And gaffers, our key grip Sanad, he was like, yeah, I have a Vespa at home, it doesn't work. But we don't even better, we don't need insurance for it, it's a prop, you know what I mean? But also it's just, with the volume, how do we create that maximum cinematic impact, right? And so our production designer, Karen Weber, her husband actually hand animated all of those backgrounds.
So talented.
Oh, yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, what's wild is that he drew Roman Holiday the night before.
Yeah, he texted me and Terence and was like, does this look good? And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But it turned out so beautiful. I actually have 2 songwriting credits on this film. I wrote lyrics on the song that plays during that, and
such a good song.
Music is so
nice.
And another one of our actresses' husband did vocals and co-wrote the song with us too. Yeah. So we're really a family.
Natasha, the one that played at the very end, about to be in the film, her husband, and a great talent.
Also, I think in kind of choosing the scenes, it's like, what are those iconic moments, right? And going from Late in the Tramp to Singing in the Rain, it's like also like what makes it pop? What is that iconic visual that
People will know.
exactly,
Yeah.
it immediately strikes you, right?
Yeah.
And oh God, I remember us trying to do that spaghetti thing was hilarious.
Old,
Yeah.
gross spaghetti.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, it was.
We're like, okay.
I will have to say, Hannah Cattell, our costume designer, did an amazing job. So all of those, like the raincoat, the suit, it was all vintage. Like she sourced the original like raincoats and everything. That was probably I think
So
it was
cool.
our most fun day because it was playing make believe.
It was
We just change your costume, then play in front of the pretty screen. It was.
Well, I'm curious, what do each of you think is like the ultimate romantic comedy?
Ooh. I mean, I think When Harry Met Sally is that is the rom-com that every other rom-com copies off of, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is just, you can trace back every rom-com trope to that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and the speech when Harry makes the Sally at the end. Oh
my God.
Oh.
I
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
in agreement. That was the first film Terrence and I bonded over when we first met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God. I don't know why Casablanca came to mind.
Oh, that's a good.
They don't end up together.
Yeah, it's definitely not a romantic comedy. It's a drama, but yeah, it's very romantic.
Yeah, there's plenty of comedy. There's plenty of comedy. I mean,
In Casablanca?
No,
Yeah.
We'll always have Paris. It is definitely
there's lighter moments, I suppose. Yeah, but I mean, like any drama has lighthearted moments, and any comedy has dramatic moments. It's all about the balance of the two, what you're gonna have.
Such an incredible cast that bring the com to the rom.
Yes.
So I hope we have struck a good balance between the.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Well, so what would be your pitch to the Hallmarkies listeners for each of you? What would you say that you're going to like this movie? You should check it out. Would be your pitch?
It is a rom-com for rom-com lovers. That is the quintessential pitch, and that's kind of
the ultimate rom-com for rom-com lovers. See if you can find all the Easter eggs if you love the genre.
Yeah.
From the costumes to the lines to his suit in the pitch meeting was inspired by Crazy Rich Asians. So there's a lot. I made a letterbox list if anyone wants to.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. I'd like that.
I think what makes Meet Cute in Manhattan different than other rom-coms is it's not about finding the one, but it's about finding yourself. So I hope our movie.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, definitely. Where is it being released in theaters or is it streaming, and where can they watch it?
It will be on demand on March 28th.
All right.
On Prime. So we're very, very excited. A little bit nervous on my end, at least.
I'm so excited. I can't wait for it and just put it out into the world. And I have gotten so much comfort in my life from rom-coms on my lowest days, like he was saying. And I just hope this is another film in the lexicon that gives someone comfort when they're feeling low.
Yeah, I agree. Listen relates to it.
Yeah, something that you can watch when you just need something to. I mean, that's why I always say that rom-coms to me are inherently hopeful. And so I think that's why people love them, is you want to believe in love, you want to believe in happy endings. And I think that's the bigger thing, even if they don't get together. I think, is it a happy ending?
Yes,
And
yeah.
I think is because like 500 Days of Summer, I think is definitely a rom-com, but they don't end up getting together. But it's a happy ending for the two characters.
I mean, it's like you said, there's hope at the end of that movie, right?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think maybe I'll accept the secondary definition, but no, but yeah, exactly. Slowly. But I think to your point, right? Like, I think finding comfort and joy in movies, something that shouldn't be frowned upon. You know what I mean? We all have those things that we childhood that is, frankly, like they define who we are as people. You know, we all films, and I can tell you, you know, rom-coms are a part of my kind of artistic identity. And the fact that we got to make a rom-com, and in a way that I think we're all very, very proud of. And we really did it by ourselves. And like, I always think, like, how incredible is it that we didn't have anyone telling us, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like we would make a choice and we would go for it, you know? And listen, whether it was good or bad, we went for it. And that was have that true freedom to kind of express ourselves is a once in a lifetime thing, and I will treasure it forever.
And it was a first for all of us in many ways.
Yeah.
Your directorial debut for Karen Morey, and then our first time starring in a feature film.
Yeah.
So,
and I can honestly say that I would not have made it through without Kendall, because I was trying to put on too many hats, and she was just the consummate professional. Like, every time she stepped onto set, everyone's like, all right, it's go time. You know what I mean? She knew her lines better than I did, and I wrote the thing. So I can tell you, like, I truly could not have done this without the entire team.
Well, I think you could feel the chemistry, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an entertaining little take on the romantic comedy genre, and so congratulations on the film, and I hope you have all the success.
Thanks for watching.
Also, your podcast name is fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
We're like, oh, all right, like this is fantastic.
Well, sometimes I'm like, should we have called ourselves like the rom-com queens or something? Because I don't want to be pigeoned to just Hallmark, but we just do whatever we want. It's fine.
X could also work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. So it works. It works well. I appreciate that. But congrats on the film. And do you have social media or anything you want to share?
Yeah.
Be Cute in Manhattan movie on Instagram.
I'm Mr. Terence Chen.
I'm Karen Morey with 2 Y's.
Great.
Yeah, and my letterbox is Karen Morey if anyone wants to find the references.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much. It was so nice to meet all of you.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
I'd like to thank Karen, Terence, and Kendall for coming on the podcast. This was really fun to get to talk with them. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think. If you're going to watch the movie, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or on Twitter. And you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We sure appreciate it. And if you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. We sure appreciate that as well. And we have our Patreon group, which is the biggest way you can support everything we do, so we can have these cool opportunities. And the merch store, we've got tons of rom-com inspired merch, so check that out. And thanks again to the whole Meet Cute in Manhattan team, and hope you all check out the movie. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.